Do that noise one more time. What was that noise you did? What the heck was that?
Just going with the beat.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, I
That
was
was
getting ready.
terrible.
I was getting ready.
Don't do that no more.
I'm sorry.
You put the show off to a bad start.
Oh,
We look terrible. Now, Breeze Nation, what's good? It's your boy, Pat the Designer. Back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. We got a lot to get into on today's episode, man. Got to talk about, dare I say, Marcus Freeman might have made a case.
Uh-oh.
He might be making a little bit of a case here, Jordan JC.
Yeah.
He is a
that team rolling.
he is a coaching candidate that the Bears may need to rethink about.
Okay. All right.
Also, we got to talk about Aaron Glenn. He's an interesting name that continues to pop up here for coaching candidate spots. And is he the one that's going to fit the Chicago Bears best? And finally, I want to have a conversation on, do you need the offensive guy? We always see, go get the offensive guy. Go get the guy that Caleb's never going to leave again. They'll be married at the hip till Caleb dies, and then we'll move on. Right? That's when we will finally have the right coach, the guy that will be in the building till Caleb dies. Do you need that, or do you need a leader of men? Break it. Okay, everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. Everybody breathe. We'll talk about all that more in today's episode of the I almost said the Chicago Bears podcast, the Windy City Breeze. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Little update on the family side of things, by the way. Wifey's home.
Hey!
Wifey came home today dealing with a lot of stuff. Pax is still in the hospital, so he's going to be there for a little while. But wifey is home right now. Very excited to be back at home. Very excited for all the fathers out there, and you know who you are. Excited to be in my bed. You were
like sitting on the recliner for the last week.
Because here's the thing. The recliner would have been phenomenal. Let me tell you. They have this couch thing when you're a new parent. Well, you're a new parent, right?
Okay.
And you like press a button and it folds out. And so like the back of the couch becomes a bed.
Oh, yeah.
There's this thing that the back of the couch usually doesn't have, though. That's cushioning.
Oh, boy.
So I've been in pain. I've been sitting there a little bit, and you can't complain. This is why they do it. I've been in the hospital we've been in there since Thursday. I've stayed there every night. I'm not leaving my wife. I've been in the hospital.
Right.
The reason that they do it, and I'm fully convinced of this, is so that the father feels some pain throughout the process. Just like, it can't be perfect for you, dog.
You can't be better than the
pain
the wife.
Can't be perfect for you. What you want me to give you a nice couch? You want to sleep comfortably while your wife's in pain? You suck.
She's delivering. You just
hey, bro.
Yep. All right.
So yeah, I had to deal with that a little bit, but nothing like what my wife went through. My wife did an amazing job.
Good job.
So I'm very, very excited that we are home. Hopefully Pax will be home soon because he is gaining weight already, and he's going to be an absolute monster.
Man is going to be
he's going to be a big boy. He's going to be a big boy.
Got a question for you. One question.
Are
you taking over cooking the meals at home?
I mean, I cook all the time anyway. It's not my wife isn't an every night cooker.
Right?
Yeah, I do. I enjoy cooking. Listen, and I tell you this right now. You want to know why I enjoy cooking? Because of these goddamn TikTok chefs. You seen some of the meals that they be putting together? No, I wasn't talking about that, Jordan JC. You watch yourself there.
I'm not going to twerk.
What do you know about that? What do you know about that?
I don't know.
Nah, man, but I don't mind cooking at the house. That's not one of my things. I love making pastas. I love making steaks, as you know.
Oh,
yeah. Sometimes I combine the two. So, I mean, I'm not upset in the slightest. But let's talk a little bit of football, shall we, Jordan James? I haven't been here.
Let's go.
I haven't seen us in person. I can see you.
Yes, I see you as well.
I can see you. You got a nice suit on. Look at you.
Need a haircut, though. Need a haircut.
What that cost? 40 cents?
KG got deals, baby. KG got deals.
Shout out to Baki in the building. You're absolutely right. He said, congrats. Oh, no. Well, congrats, brother. My son just turned 1. Congrats to you, Bulls Daily. Baki said, and Pat, just remember, your son's first words will be, we don't pay running backs. 100%, Baki. We are not paying running backs. Somebody said, would you rather have your son be a running back or a useless relief pitcher in Major League Baseball? 100%. You want to know why?
Baseball players get paid
for nothing. I will make sure he's left-handed.
They get paid.
I will make sure he's left-handed. They get paid for absolutely nothing,
That's
dog.
hilarious.
He throws fastballs, but he's left-handed. $100 million. Get him in the building. I want to talk about, though, something we saw last night. I thought it was very interesting watching the game. Penn State versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame coming out with a heck of a win.
Yeah.
Very close, got to the end of the game. Of course, they drive down. Big plays are being made left and right. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish look like they could win the national championship, in my opinion. And because of that, I want to have a conversation around Marcus Freeman, who is somebody who, remember when his name got brought up initially, I didn't think Notre Dame would be in this position. I'm sitting here telling you they're not going to be that kind of team. They're not going to make it that far. We're good on Marcus Freeman.
Same. Yeah.
Now they're here, which means you did something right.
Yeah.
Which means you've coached your team in the right manner to put them in a position to do something that is very difficult to do.
Yeah.
And that's win a national championship. Now, I do think they have created some leverage for themselves in some very interesting ways, but that's neither here nor there. But the question that I have is, should Marcus Freeman be a name to watch for the Chicago Bears as their next head coach? And the reason that I bring this up is if he goes out and he wins this national championship, first off, it'll be something that Notre Dame has not seen. I want to say the last natty. Did Tom Thayer win the national championship with Notre Dame? I think he did. I think that's the last.
Did he?
I think that's the last national championship
you would know more than I would. Yeah,
that Notre Dame has won. I may be wrong on that. I'm not a college savant.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen this season, and I watched a lot of college football these last couple of seasons, Notre Dame, I'm surprised they're here.
Yeah.
I think that they've been well coached. I think defensively, this team has everything that they need. I think you would also be getting one of those young coaches that you could talk about coming into the building and being there for a while, being able to coach with the Kevin O'Connells and stuff like that, who are there long-term, who are much younger, Matt LaFleur's, of course. I think that there is a lot to be said on the job that Marcus Freeman has done to motivate his team to put them in this position, and how he has coached some of the talent up there that, as many people have said around college football, you didn't believe that Notre Dame have. Now, defensively, they've got one of the best defensives in football, if not the best defense in football. I also think that could play a big part with what we see here in Chicago, but also the fact that they're not forgetting about the offensive side of the ball. I think that Notre Dame has done a lot of things well. With a list of 17, I'm not saying that he should be the next Bears head coach. What I am saying is he's somebody with the people on this list.
He deserves to be in there.
I'm fine with you throwing him an interview. I'm fine with you throwing him an interview.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I kind of looked past Marcus Freeman. I'm gonna be honest with you for quite a while. But the fact that he has been resilient, this team has pushed through to the national championship, has been nothing more than amazing, nothing less than amazing. The fact that you beat Georgia, the fact that you just came back and beat Penn State when I think you were down 10-0 on a last-second field goal, that just shows the resilience of this team. It shows how hard they play for their coach. And the only thing that's holding him back, I believe, is that he just got an extension in December.
You're gonna have to pay him.
So you're
gonna have to give him that baggie back.
You might have to open up the checkbook if you're going to consider Marcus Freeman for this job. But he's a young, I believe he's 39, maybe.
39.
39. So he's a guy who's young. He's up and coming. He's looks like he everybody that plays for him buys in, and that's what you want. You want a team that even when the chips are down, they're going to fight. They're going to fight until that last second. And that's what this team is. Like you said, they have the best defense, I think, in college football. That's a guy you want to play for. So possibly you bring him in the building for a head coaching candidacy. Yes, I'm better than I would love him more than the Kafkas and the whatever I forgot the guy from
Matt
Georgia.
Campbell.
Oh, the Matt Campbells. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, absolutely. I would put him high and above over those guys. And yeah, I looked over him at first, but I believe that this is a guy who can come in the building and be a leader of men. Now, obviously, he doesn't have any head coaching experience in the NFL, so you're still taking a chance on whether or not that will come to fruition. But the product that you're seeing, the things that you're seeing that are happening at the college level against some of the better competition, it just kind of shows you that this guy probably can do it at the next level.
Yeah, no, and listen, the big thing for me is not that you automatically just give him the job. I don't think that you should do that either. I think that this is a a situation where if you're going to take a look at Marcus Freeman, it's because of the successes he has, and because, dare I say, because he deserves to be in the conversation. You make it to a national championship, you win a national championship, you deserve to be in some of that conversation, like the video, if you agree. But I think the big thing for me is some of that buy-in, some of the tough part about a lot of these guys that I do think with the coaching names that we have on this list that we overlook is everything is for Caleb. And I'm not saying everything shouldn't be for Caleb, right? I think that you should be going out there and trying to do as much as you can for Caleb Williams.
Yeah, absolutely.
But whoever comes in here has to bring a team together. Whoever comes in here has the job of fixing a locker room that is definitely segmented in some ways. Whoever comes in here, and I keep saying this, they have the job of resetting a terrible culture that this franchise has a stench on it for a while. Can we say that Marcus Freeman has done that? I look at what he walked into. Remember Brian Kelly being there, right? Brian Kelly saying, but which is the funniest thing in the world right now. And Shay brought this out on the Chicago Bears podcast today. Shout out to Shay for filling in. Him and Yurko, absolutely hilarious today on the Chicago Bears podcast. But when you talk about what Brian Kelly said when he left there, Brian Kelly was like, well, it'd be a lot easier to beat the SEC when you're not at Notre Dame. And, you come in here and now you have the means to be able to do this for my family. Remember, he had that random Southern accent when he left.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's in LSU. It's all about my family. What was that? What was that? Why are we talking about that? But for me, I think that you have to have a conversation on Marcus Freeman went into a situation where their head coach left. The system he had put in place left. Everything that Brian Kelly hadn't succeeded at, gone. And he put the program back together.
Yeah.
He got some good pieces to come in there. There's been a lot of changes at Notre Dame. But he's done kind of what we've asked with Brian Kelly leaving the building and moving on to go on to LSU. I think that, to me, that speaks to somebody who is very similar. Now, I know he's a lot younger, doesn't have as many skins on the wall, but if you win a national championship, now you got some skins on the wall.
Yeah, you do.
That's what we praised Jim Harbaugh for. That's what we said we wanted Jim Harbaugh for.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh walked into a situation. He turned it around. They started winning. Jim Harbaugh did it at what was his first college?
Oh my goodness!
Why am I blanking on his first college? Y'all know in the chat. He first college job, goes in. They're terrible. Dominates. Boom. Now all of a sudden they're winning games. Jim Harbaugh goes to San Francisco. It's falling off. It's over. Oh, we got to fix all of this. We drafted this quarterback number 1 overall. It's done. Alex Smith all of a sudden is a rising star in this league. He's starting to figure things out. Jim Harbaugh comes in. They start winning. They go to a Super Bowl. Stanford, shout out to King Booker World. Shannon as well. Drop that in there. V-Dog as well. Drop that in there. Shout out to y'all. He did it at Stanford with Stanford Cardinals, whose coach I do not want here in Chicago. He's also a name on the list, possibly.
Just everybody.
But you're talking about culture builders. Now, again, he's 39 years old. It's a different situation. But when Jim Harbaugh came in, Jim Harbaugh wasn't 56, 57 years old when he got the opportunity to do it in an NFL level. If you see somebody who can go out there and build a program, I think that is at least worth having the conversation. That is at least worth going out there and talking with him and seeing, hey, can you be that culture builder here? Because that's what this team needs going into next season. We could talk about everything else. We can talk about how the Bears are going to need more offensive linemen. We could talk about how the Bears are going to need a better running game. We could talk about how the Bears are going, all of these things that they definitely need. But they need somebody who can put all of that together.
Here's another thing that I'm kind of overlooking, and I'm starting to think maybe this might actually be a part of what we need as far as the culture shift and the culture change. We mentioned his age, 39 years old. We look at some of these candidates that we're bringing in and some of the front runners like Ben Johnson and Joe Brady, who are young candidates, young and up and coming candidates at the OC position. Is there something to be said about the fact that they themselves can kind of connect a little bit more with some of these players that are now in the league, with all of these young players coming in from college, getting NIL deals, already making money?
Yeah.
Like now it's a different world where these guys have more of a backbone. They have more of a say. the generation is changed from the old way of doing things. And so maybe you need also a coach who, leader of men, can change the culture, but also can kind of connect and kind of be like a little bit more on the same level as some of these young guys. He's a guy who's 39. I mean, he's right there with some of the kids that are playing in the NFL. So
yeah.
Does that matter at a certain point too?
Kids,
when it, well, not kids.
He might like the same music.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying.
40, almost 40. You what are kids listening to? You think he's bumping some NBA young boy? Probably not.
Nah, maybe not. Maybe
I don't think that reaches the same. I don't think this is a Tomlin situation.
Lil Wayne. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, he's definitely bumping everything that we're bumping. Everything that we're bumping, he's bumping.
He's in our age range. Yes. So I'm saying, like, is there that connection that maybe we're overlooking that's important as far as a candidate that can connect to these players a little bit more? Does that matter? And I think maybe it does.
It could be. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I do believe that it's at least worth the conversation, especially with some of the names on here that, let's be real, we don't need half of them.
Mm-hmm.
We're sitting here talking. We're doing the whole no stone unturned thing.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You're checking the eggs in the tree. No
water.
Leaves. Checking the water. Somebody literally put on. I posted that on Instagram. Somebody was like, "There's stones in the water, Pat." Like,
oh yeah, I saw that.
Like, how about you dunk your face in there and hold it for a long time? That's what I think of those stones in the water.
Dry stones.
I'm looking for dry stones here. But no, I just think that if you're gonna have conversations with all these people, a guy who's a national championship contender should be on your list in my mind. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you have not done so, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do, man. We're gonna keep the conversation moving along here, because another name that has popped up that I do think is very interesting for the Chicago Bears is Aaron Glenn. He's going to be interviewing with the Bears this Saturday along with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is the front runner, it seems, in everybody's mind for this next Chicago Bears head coaching job. But Aaron Glenn, to me, is somebody who I think you have to keep a little bit of an eye on here, because when we talk about that leader of men mentality, from everything that I've heard, he's Dan Campbell. From everything that I've heard, he sets cultures like that. Now, I also think you need to go out there and you need to look. And when you talk about Aaron Glenn, you need to say, well, let's also have a conversation on the fact that I'm not terrified of this Detroit Lions defense. Haven't been terrified of this Detroit Lions defense for some time. The offense is what we're talking about. The offense is what leads the way. Even when they were fully healthy, I didn't sit there and go, well, we're not going to be able to we're not going to be able to sit there and score points on Detroit. I think that when you're having a conversation about Aaron Glenn, you have to have a conversation more about him, the leader, which could be something that comes into play, versus him, the DC, because the conversations that I'm hearing around his name is that he's going to set that tone. He's going to be a bigger leader than he is a DC. Now, he may still come in here and call plays, but what he brings as far as setting a culture, setting a tone, that is why you want a guy like Aaron Glenn in the building.
No, I totally agree. And I actually read an article that really went over some former players, and even when he was connected to the Saints, you had Drew Brees, you had Jonathan Vilma, the likes of those guys that were really speaking out, including also Dan Campbell, talking about how he develops players and mentions he's about structure, organization, not that other coaches aren't, but you can see proof in the pudding of what he's done in Detroit. It's not a bunch of superstars. It's with 4th-round guys, 5th-round guys, backups. They're going to be the same really good players that may not be on the team, but it talks about just how he has everybody prepared and the people buy into what he's doing. And so you need a guy like that. You need a guy that, even if you don't have the greatest talent in the world, those guys are going to just run around with their head cut off for you because they believe in what you're saying. And that's the kind of the culture and the kind of attitude that we need here in Chicago. I mean, you're under the tutelage of Dan Campbell. You know what Dan Campbell said coming in. He wants to bite kneecaps off. And so he already set a certain standard that sounded crazy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it worked. And everybody in Detroit is buying in. And like you mentioned, they obviously have a very good offense. But when it comes to Aaron Glenn's credit, they have one of the better run defenses as well.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that the Bears actually lacked this year with all the problems and all the injuries is the run defense. And so when you bring somebody in here that's committed to that side of the ball, the only question mark for me is, will he tap into the maximizing of Caleb Williams? Potentially, I believe maybe that's something that can still work. If you're a guy who's a leader of men, and I know we're going to get into that, maybe that doesn't matter as much if you can still have the whole team buy in, because now what if the offensive line improves and those guys are on the same page and you get them disciplined, you get those guys putting max effort, well, then that contributes to the offense being better. That contributes to the offense being more efficient. So it all works hand in hand, whether or not he's an offensive-minded or a defensive-minded coach. But with this guy being a defensive-minded coach, I think, yes, he will bring that to the table. You see evidence of that in Detroit. I don't know if he'll be my top candidate, but I do like him in the top 3 as far as if finalists. If certain people are already like the Ben Johnsons are already not going to come here or they're not going to be in the running, then Aaron Glenn would be my guy as a backup. I
think here's my question, and maybe this goes into the leader of men conversation. If it does, whatever, it all blends together. We all having conversations out here. And like the video if you have not done so, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. There's about to be a lot of change in Detroit. I would assume both coordinators end up getting head coaching jobs.
Yeah.
Do you believe Dan Campbell will still be the same guy? Do you believe that Dan Campbell will still be the guy that finds the right coordinator, that finds the right process, that finds the right DC, that is still able to go out there and set the standard for this team? Is he a John Harbaugh? Is he a Mike Tomlin, if you will? Although Tomlin, that's some question marks out there. But is he one of those guys? Because that's the real question if you want to take a guy from history.
Will he replace it and still be on the same?
Well, more so, right? Because that's kind of what you're going to have to do here.
Yeah.
If you're the Bears, you're going to have to, if you bring him in, you're going to have to probably constantly bring in offensive coordinators. You don't have to bring in DCs. You'll probably end up finding guys to stick around, but you're going to have to constantly go through the ups and downs and the changes. He's from that tree. He's played in the game. He's been a part of the game. He's been coaching for years. He's got a long resume. Do you believe that he is a guy who transcends, or very much like Dan Campbell, like I'm sure many Detroit people think, who transcends, I can lose my coordinators and still be me? Because if you do, I think that he deserves a serious consideration.
Well, specifically, if you're talking about Dan Campbell, I can't see that yet because he hasn't done it. But if that happens, then sure, if both of his guys who definitely deserve head coaching opportunities leave and he still keeps the Detroit Lions on track, obviously they've gotten their talent level up to a certain point where I do believe they can kind of be a mainstay in the NFC North as far as a powerhouse, a competitive team. Sure. But if we're talking about Aaron Glenn coming in, and that's another reason why I said he's not my top candidate, is because, again, going back through all that circus and cycle that the Bears always do, they bring in somebody like a defensive-minded head coach, and then you have the OC who does good to a great job. Now he's up for a head coaching position. Now he leaves. Okay, now you got to replace him, and then it's a different maybe scheme or philosophy for Caleb. Caleb's already gone through 3 guys in one season.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through that carousel constantly year after year after year just because we're having success, which is why I do want an offensive-minded head coach preferably. But if Aaron Glenn comes in, maybe there could be some stability. I'm not exactly sure. That is a good question. That's why I don't want to really take a chance on it. I don't mind, again, having the guy like Aaron Glenn come in and be that coach. But again, that's why he's not my first guy, because I don't want to do exactly what we've been doing. We talked about making differences in this organization. That's the difference that we need to make, is not allowing for people to just come in the building and then leave because they've done a great job and now they're up for another promotion somewhere else.
I think that's and we can get into it. We're trying to keep the conversation separate. Realistically, the conversations are together, right? That to me is the conversation on leader of men versus
offensive
guru.
Yeah.
Because we all want the offensive guru. We want the dude that I want Kevin O'Connell. I want Matt LaFleur. I want Sean McVay. I want Kyle Shanahan. I've heard. I've got it on good authority. Never mind. He's not leaving.
That ship is sailed.
That ship has sailed. I want those guys.
Yeah.
Those are the best of the best at calling plays and being leaders. Those are the best of the best at going out there and consistently getting a job done, but also still being able to go out there and still being able to go out there and lead the defense to one of the top defenses in the NFL, right? You look at the Rams when the Rams were great. They were able to go out there and be great defensively and be able to still have great offensive numbers. You were able to find both guys. You look at the 49ers have had one of the best defenses in the NFL over the past couple of seasons, but we talk about Sean McVay as the offensive guru, right? I'm sorry, I talk about Kyle Shanahan as the offensive guru. So, like, for me, if I'm looking at one over the other, it's who can transcend it. Who, no matter what, right? Because we sit here and talk about, you're going to lose a DC. Like, that's not important. Like, F the defense. We don't need, I can find another defensive coordinator.
Yeah. Those are a little bit easier to come by, I think.
But I don't think that you need to do that. I don't think that I shouldn't say that you need to do that. I don't think that the mindset is one side of the ball is better than the other, because we don't have that mindset when we talk about John Harbaugh, who's been there, 12 years at this point?
Baltimore.
We don't have that mindset when we talk about Jim Harbaugh. We don't have that mindset when we talk about Mike Tomlin. We don't have that mindset when we talk about, and I get it, it's more of an offensive league. There's more offensive coaches that do prove to be that leader of men style guy. But I just think that there's more than one way to do it. And it feels like, as Bears fans, we're so locked into just, you got to get the offensive guys so that Caleb dies with them, so that no matter what, he's on the field, he's got his OC. Well, Lamar Jackson has had multiple offensive coordinators. He's been the MVP twice. Should be the MVP a third time.
Mm-hmm.
Pat Mahomes technically has had multiple coordinators. We know it's Andy Reid, but you know what I mean? Like, we know it's Andy Reid. That's where it locks it. But, like, when you look at these guys around the league that are great, heck, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's the name that we look most at.
Your guy.
Justin Herbert has had multiple coordinators.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert still looks like a good quarterback. The goal is to get the guy on the path to understand the key to continuing to be a good quarterback.
For my opinion, I think that when it comes to that debate between leader of men versus offensive guru, man, that's hard for me. But I'm going to lean towards more of saying that I would think you would need the leader of men, because I feel that if you're getting a guy who can kind of influence and motivate every single part of your team, every single phase of your team, every single position group, that impacts the overall play, maybe more than just the offensive guru who's just focused in on bettering the quarterback, making the guy, or bettering the offense and making the quarterback the best that he can be. Not that I don't want that, because I think Ben Johnson has a phenomenal mind for the game. You've seen, we put up the stats about.
I'm not mad at Ben Johnson.
Able to do. Yes, even when they
I would be happy if Ben Johnson came here.
Absolutely, yeah. At the end of the day, no, I'm not going to be mad at that, but if you're telling me what I would prefer a guy who can actually maximize the play of every single player on the team. Because I think overall, obviously, this is a full sport. Your defense matters as well. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people say defense wins championships.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can have a low-scoring game, but if your defense actually comes through when your offense is not doing their job, it doesn't matter how you win, you still win. And so, can the offensive guru do that? That's the question mark.
Here's my thing. What makes a leader of men? Who are the leaders of men in the NFL right now? Like your leader of men coaches.
I would say
if you want to describe it as that.
Definitely Tomlin, definitely Dan Campbell comes off as a leader of men.
So Mike Tomlin hasn't won a playoff game since 2016, but leader of men.
Hasn't.
Dan Campbell May lose both his coordinators. May not be the same guy on the other side of this thing, but we'll see.
As you mentioned, Harbaugh has shown
John Harbaugh
at different levels.
Or Jim Harbaugh. Both Harbaughs, technically.
Well, actually, yeah, both.
Yeah, I take both
Ravens
Harbaughs.
and
Throw
Chargers.
both Harbaughs on there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mike McDaniel to me is a leader of men, I think, low key. I like McDaniel in Miami.
Everybody want to leave Miami.
Yeah, well, I know Tariq's trying.
I mean,
I think he's a crybaby though. Yeah, he's just a crybaby.
I mean, what's his name leaving too? Ain't he? Who's the
He's a coordinator or is it
DB?
Oh,
one of the DBs is like, I'm out of here. I'm following you out of here.
Xavier or Jalen? One of them. I don't
think
know.
Jalen.
Yeah, the point is there are a number of leaders of men that I would lean on to say that's who you look at as the example. Like you mentioned, Kyle Shanahan, yes, he's offensive guru, but I feel like he's also a leader of men because San Francisco has gone through a lot of changes when it comes to the quarterback position. The fact that you got the last guy in the draft humming and leading your offense in Brock Purdy, like to me, that says a lot as a leader. That doesn't necessarily mean the offensive side isn't, being given attention, but to me, that shows how much of a good leader you are, that you can evaluate something like that. Andy Reid, leader of men.
Andy Reid,
offensive guru also, but I think he's also shown that he's more of a leader of men as well because the Kansas City Chiefs, they've had different iterations of that team, and they're still successful at the end of the day. You've taken Tariq off. You got multiple injuries from receivers on that team, yet they're still probably going to win their third in a row. Like, to me, that's what I want to see.
My point is saying, in having you go through that is all the leaders of men have one thing in common.
What's that?
They win. That's it.
There you go.
Nobody talks about a leader of men that loses.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Antonio
Pierce is a leader of men based off with everything everybody has told me. Antonio Pierce didn't win. Yeah. They didn't give him enough talent to win.
They didn't give him enough time either.
They didn't give him any time. They didn't give him any talent.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, he's a leader of men. Is he described as a leader of men? No. Is he talked about as one of those elite leaders of men in the NFL?
No.
I think that Antonio Pierce will go to another team. I think he will get another crack at a head coaching opportunity. I think that he will be a leader of men because he probably will go to a job where they'll be like, hey, we're kind of setting you up to win here. Or we'll give you the time to build it so that you can build what you want to do so that you can go out there and win.
Yeah.
Leaders of men are just dudes that win. If Ben Johnson comes here and wins, he's a leader of men. Matt Nagy, first year, coach of the year. Matt Nagy was a leader of men. Y'all remember that?
I don't believe that.
Offensive guru and a leader of men. You want to know what Matt Nagy did after winning that coach of the year as a dominant leader of men? He left his quarterback out to dry when his quarterback wanted to learn what he needed to improve.
Yep.
And destroyed the relationship with his starting quarterback because he didn't believe he was good enough. That's the leader of men.
Doesn't sound like one to me.
But he won. So when you were done with the season, when Bears fans were finished with that season, he was a leader of men.
To me, that was a fake leader of men. You know who I think won that title.
Well, listen, Vic Fangio, leader of men. How much of a leader of men was he when he was in Denver?
Yeah. He lost in Denver.
And that's my point. This whole leader of men conversation, go get me a dude that's going to win no matter what. That's what I want.
So you think that title is overrated?
I think it's the dumbest title in sports. A leader. I'm not hiring coaches who aren't leaders of men. By definition of the job, you are leading 53 men. You are a leader of men. You want to know what else you can do leading men? There's a lot of leaders of men who have led them to their death.
That's true. That is
look
true.
At a lot of the look at General Custard. He was a leader of men. And for some reason, he gets the last stand praise, Custard's last stand. No, he led a bunch of people to die. That's what he did. And so for me, when you talk about the leader of men thing, you know what Mike Tomlin is? He's not a leader of men. He's a winner. He's going to win. He will finish a season 10-6, and we will look back at it and go, by the end of that year, that was tough. But what do you have to work with there, really? Oh, you had 47-year-old Russ?
Dang right. Coach Boone mentality.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to win.
I'm going to win. Like that, and see, that to me is the conversation that you really need to have. I don't need a leader, man. I need the guy that's going to find a way to put wins together. Jim Harbaugh, and that's why we started this off in my mind with a guy like Marcus Freeman.
Okay.
Culture changers. Jim Harbaugh walks in the room. Hey, that don't work. Get rid of every single wide receiver on this team. What? What'd you just say? I want every single person that makes too much money and doesn't do enough off this team. You want to get rid of Keenan Allen? Yeah. You want to get rid of Mike Williams? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You want to keep Quentin Johnston? We ain't got no choice. We drafted him. He's going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you going to do after that? I'm going to draft the left tackle. I'm going to take Ladd McConkey. Well, what's that going to do? It's going to help us win. You know what I mean? Like the leader of men thing to me is so outplayed. Find me dudes that win. Like I said, it's why I talked about Marcus Freeman. I didn't think he'd be here.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, Notre Dame, cute season. They got some wins. They're going to get clapped by the time they get to the playoffs. Then I'm starting to watch them at the end of the season. I'm like, yo, these mugs are flying to the football.
They're playing.
They're balling.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not the same Notre Dame team that started this season. He transcended them. He got that team to believe that we're better than what we are, and he turned that talent that he had into something that was better than what we thought it was to start the season.
So then to your point, what you're saying is you really don't care what philosophy they come from, whether it be the defensive side of the ball, whether it be the offensive side of the ball, as long as they come in and change the culture and win. That's all that matters. Because I think I even made a video about the fact that, and I know a lot of people got on me about Drew Petzing being a candidate, and I know that he probably bombed his interview because he didn't really have an actual plan for Caleb. But my thing is, when you look at somebody like that came from Arizona and he started out with the rushing attack, we saw what he did against the Bears with the 200-plus rushing that game. Does it matter how it looks? That was my overall question. Does it matter how it looks to you if we win in the long run? Does it matter if Caleb, turns into this 40-yard, this 40-plus pass attempt quarterback every game, and he's going for 300, 400-plus yards, but they still lose versus 250 yards, 200 on the ground, and the Bears are winning, and they win 13, 14 games in the season?
No, you want to know why? And I'll tell you exactly why. And I had this debate with somebody today. Because a lot of people, right, Baki's been in the chat. He's been very vocal about it. There's a lot of people out on Josh McDaniels as an OC here. I don't want him. I don't want him on my team. He doesn't win. A lot of people feel this way. A lot of people feel this way, right? The year that the Raiders went 6-11 with Josh McDaniels, they were a top 10 offense. Josh Jacobs ran for 1,600 yards. Devontae Adams had 1,500 receiving yards. They lost 11 games. No. Wins matter. Now, are you going to get the flashy players? Are you going to get, are you going to have, like, I'll be honest with you, right? Jim Harbaugh is going to be there for a little while. Probably not going to get a Keenan Allen type of player to want to come there. Probably not going to get a Justin Jefferson type of player to go there.
Yeah.
Because the passing offense ain't the best in the world.
No, it's not.
You're not our focus. Our focus is winning the game.
Yeah.
I don't care how we win the game. If we're going to win the game today passing, you got it. You getting 37 targets, you better catch 36 of them. If we're going to win today rushing, stand out there and block. And you better do it. To me, it's all about finding the guy that walks in here next season, because I'm going to tell you this right now. This is not a 4-year plan for you, Ryan Poles. This is not a 4-year plan for Kevin Warren. This is next year.
Now.
Well, we got to give him grace. We gave Matt Eberflus 3 seasons. I'm sorry. He's not going to get nearly as much grace.
Yeah.
Next head coach is not getting any of the grace. You want to know why? Because you effed it up the first time. You need to win next season. You need to find pieces next season. You need to find your left tackle, your starting center, whatever it is, or at least somebody who can stand in there and be comparable next season until you can fix the big issues. You don't have 10 years. Ryan Poles has 1, maybe 2 seasons left, which means you got this season to get it on the right track. You got next season to get it on the right track. Maybe you got the season after that to actually put yourself in the playoffs and put you in a winning position. That's what this is going to be.
Yeah.
That's your window to go out there and win. Bears can believe all they want. Let Ryan Poles have 2 more losing seasons.
I don't think he deserves one, but okay. Well, one more than one, I should say. But I mean, to your point, like this whole conversation between those two, again, the offensive guru, leader of men. I think what's more important at the end of the day is the accountability that the coach will bring. Because we saw what happened at the very beginning of the season. We saw where the cracks in the armor were when it came to the offensive coordinator, just allowing certain things to kind of go by the wayside, playing nice and buddy with guys, and not really holding players accountable for how they practiced during the weeks leading up to the game, whether it was the preseason or week 1 or week 2 or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
We saw those cracks in the holes in the armor. We saw the cracks in the armor when it came to the head coach, who didn't have discipline within himself. But then in the Hard Knocks, he kept talking about preparation. But you didn't see this team prepared week in and week out for their opponent. And so that's where I think it should start, is making sure that you hold not only yourself but the players accountable to a certain level, where that level is playoff contender, championship contender. It sounds good when you say, yeah, week in, week out, the best team. What did Matty Eberflus say? He said the team that stands at the end of the year is the team that's prepared every week in, week out. It's about preparation.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's see that this time. I think that's what's more important than saying the quote unquote leader of men is holding yourself accountable to a certain standard, holding this team to a certain standard. That's how you allow the culture to shift. That's how you allow the culture to change.
But listen, I agree with that, right? But nobody had a problem with Flus when we were 4-2. Nobody had a problem with the culture when we were 4-2. Nobody in the building was like, "Oh, we're really not getting it done when we were 4-2." They were excited. We're going into this game feeling great. Heck, you win that Washington game. You come out of that game, you might be sitting there talking about, "Yo, we got a resilient team. That's what a leader of men does." There it is. He found his way to win on the road. That was a Sunday. Found his way to win on the road on a Sunday. That's a leader of men. That's what he did. He didn't. So at a certain point, the players stopped believing. At a certain point, the players stop buying in. So it could be Flus is in there. Hey, we gotta rep this up. We gotta ramp this up. And like, man, you getting fired at the end of the year, bro. I ain't worried about you.
So it's almost like the reputation.
It's all about winning.
Yeah.
And when you win consistently, yeah, you do get those down years to kind of be okay. Right? If Kyle Shanahan didn't have a great season this year,
no,
a lot of injuries happened,
but I still take him.
Nobody was sitting there. I mean, we were sitting there. We were having a conversation, but I don't think there was any real conversation within the San Francisco organization of like, it's bad this year. We got to get him out of here.
Let's get him out of
No, he's taking you to 2 Super Bowls. He hasn't won the Super Bowls, but he's taking you to 2 Super Bowls. He puts you in a position to win and have double-digit win seasons every single season. He's taken the last pick in the draft, turned him into a viable quarterback in the NFL, and somebody that you're probably going to have to pay a good chunk of change to. Hey, this might be big. This might be important. The wins matter.
Yeah.
When you're winning, you're a leader of men. When you're winning, you're getting the job done. Nobody complains when you're winning, because at the end of the day, I'm sure there's a million things that everybody hated that Belichick did. But then you got to go back home and go, but he win though.
Super Bowl.
But he win though. Belichick had what, 3 seasons of not winning?
In New England, yeah.
And everybody was like, I think he's lost his fastball. No, he didn't win. I think the game's passed him by. No, it didn't. He stopped winning.
Yeah. Same players weren't there either. Yeah.
That's the biggest difference. And so for me, when you talk about going out and finding a guy, find a guy that's going to turn your franchise around in every aspect. Heck, even what Thomas Brown said, I know I listen, I don't want him to be the next Bears head coach, but what he said is true. When you go to other teams that win, when you go on LA Rams, where he came from. When you hear them talk about the Rams, and just inside the building, when you hear the media talk about the Rams, when you hear people that go to the Rams stadium every year talk about when you hear them talk about the Rams, they talk about the Rams with a conversation of, man, it's one of the best spots you can go to eat, man. They treat the media right up there, man. They have the stadium phenomenal, one of the best stadiums you can have. Everybody in the building is about their business, man. That's not the players. Your chefs don't have to be champions. But that level is there. That conversation is there.
Mm-hmm.
We're putting guys that high, and we're doing things at a championship level. So the food is championship level. That means that the players are eating championship level food. That means the players are playing at a championship level because that's the standard that the organization is held to. Look at where the Bears get voted at the end of every season.
Well, when it comes to like the facilities, and
look at where the Bears get voted at the end of every season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, I love the fact that you're talking to all these people. I don't.
Yeah, the list can get.
I don't. The list is stupid. Like, there's some people on this list that are just stupid. Like, we're trying to gain intel. We don't need it. They probably do, actually. But I think the conversation, though, for me is that you need to bring somebody in who's going to raise the standard of everything in the building.
To your point, I think that's and maybe it's not overlooked because, I mean, you got a lot of candidates that are actually coming from winning organizations, but I think maybe that's also what matters as well, is are these guys coming from teams and organizations where they've already been held to a high standard? You see them win successfully. You see them win constantly. Like you mentioned, even off the field, everything is like in its right place. Everything is organized. Everything is to a high standard, whether it be the nutrition or whether it be the facilities, the workouts, everything is at a certain level where it's like, okay, if you bring this guy in the building, he can kind of implement that here. He can change that mentality here where it's like, okay, this is where we need to raise the bar in these certain areas on and off the field. So I think that also matters as well. Winning in all areas, like you mentioned, whether it be players, whether it be drafting, whether it be
they keep bringing up the janitors. I don't know.
Hey, janitors too.
Janitors must.
You got to make sure you clean. You don't want guys getting sick because you got filthy locker rooms.
Hey, we did have didn't we have a mono thing going on in there for a little while? Was there a mono or was there a janitor? What did we have? I think in the Justin Field season, like there was like somebody caught. I don't know if it was mono or like something with the feet. Like it was some concern.
You got to get a guy named Otis to be your janitor.
Hey, just one.
Otis
cleans Hallis Hall from top to bottom every day. You got to get
Otis in there. You can't get Bill or Kevin. No, Otis. All right. Those are the guys that do the job.
Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. I appreciate everybody who supported and sent love. My family's way, sent love to my newborn son. We back in business, man, coming in the next week. Like I said, a lot of times I'll be at home, going to be taking care of course, the newborn, taking care of my wife, different things like that.
You better let me know when you're cooking steak.
I'm always cooking steak, JC.
Right,
that's my superpower.
I'll be over. I'm
about to go get some food right now. Actually, I'm starving. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing love, man. For Mr. Media himself, Jordan JC, it's your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again. Bear down, one love. Hit that like button if you didn't do so. Peace.
Oh, baby.
No, I saw some, you know what's got me in a chokehold? I've seen some phenomenal seasonings for chicken tenders. I'm a big tender guy. Oh, just cooking them at the crib. I've seen some phenomenal batters for some chicken tenders. Got me in a chokehold, bro.
Okay.
Got me in a chokehold. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Level.
Oh, never love.